Mark, for you guys to take a game that's 2-point game at the end of the third quarter and turn it into a 20-point runaway victory, what had to happen in the first 6-8 minutes of that fourth quarter for you guys to get that done?
That group did a great job. We strung together really good offensive possessions. Obviously, had really good shot making early, and then great defense. And they had their starting unit basically out there. And that group that's played well all season went out there and really opened the game up for us. They did a great job.
Chet just seemed to be such a significant force to start the game and powering you guys through during maybe an adjustment period to how they were defending you all. What did you notice from him in terms of his impact?
Yeah, he was really impactful. He had great energy to start the game. His work on the glass in the second half specifically was very, very important for us. And I thought tonight offensively, we needed a lot of trust tonight with the way they were guarding us. I mean, they played a lot of different defenses, threw a lot of different schemes at us. It's good for us to have to adjust to those things in real time the way we had to tonight. And most of those schemes rely on you moving the ball ahead of aggression, trusting the pass when they're in rotation, trusting your teammate to tee up open shots. And I thought we did that for most of the night. We played with really good intentions, and we generated quality looks as a result.
Sorry, you mentioned the trust required against their defense. I remember Shea, the first time he was really candid about some of that stuff, the balance and trust required with teammates was after that Dallas series a couple years ago against coverages like this in general. Like, where do you feel he is in terms of understanding that balance and sort of maybe mastering some of these coverages, knowing what it looks like and what it requires?
Yeah, I mean, he had a couple turnovers against it early because I think, we were calibrating to the way that he was getting defended. And then after that, he had a great blend. I mean, we want him to try to beat some of those coverages. We don't want him to just accept double teams all the time. We try to give him space to split it, turn the corner. I thought he did that well. And then when he gets stopped, he respects the coverage and he throws the ball out, and then we can play 4-on-3. So he did a great job. And then Dub was 2 for 11 tonight, and he had 10 assists. I thought both of those guys, Houston limited their attempts. They kind of put all their eggs in that basket. And those guys did a great job of moving off it and allowing the rest of the guys to play with advantages.
And I know Minnesota was a team that liked to play like that against you guys a lot last year. I mean, the one like uncommon denominator is AJ. You didn't have AJ a ton in these situations last year. What's he changed as far as those coverages and dealing with them?
Yeah, I mean, what he's done all year for us, he's just another guy that's skilled and great feel and can play without advantages, but certainly is a really good player when we have advantages. And so, and he plays defense. So it's like, you got guys. I thought Kaysen made really good plays in those rotations tonight. I thought Lou obviously shot it well and made some really good plays. He had a great pass in one of the rotations. Caruso's always great with those. Chet's great with those. Jay Will, K. Rich. It's one of the, common threads among our role players is those guys are unselfish and they have a good feel. They can all shoot. And I thought they did a great job in kind of the secondary playmaking roles that Houston put us in tonight.
It's obviously a long season. Every team's going to go through rough stretches. But what is impressive most about the way you guys have responded, not 5 straight wins?
It's not really a response. I mean, we're just, trying to be as consistent as we can, possession by possession. And it's an 82-game season. We know that there's going to be ups and downs and there's going to be challenges along the way. And our job is to try to be as consistent as possible as those come up. Tonight was a great challenge for us. It was a road game that, it's a place we haven't won a lot the last couple of years. We've had a hard time winning here against an opponent that we knew was going to be hungry for the game, that was going to try to be really physical and bring the fight to us. And we stayed with the game, did a great job on Durant, battled on the glass, worked possessions on offense, and were able to bust the door down in the fourth quarter.
What's that about you guys' defensive process, considering how potent these guys are on the offensive end, particularly weathering the storm when they were doing such a good job on the offensive boards?
Yeah, I thought, it starts with, they're going to play through Durant and Şengün. They're going to make you deal with their personnel in that way. And I thought we did a great job on both of those guys. Lou and Dub and Kaysen at times. Caruso, were great at the point of attack on Durant. Chet, Jay Will on Şengün, K. Rich at times. Caruso, obviously we have a lot of matchups for those guys. And then the help behind it. And then we battled on the glass. They had a lot of offensive rebounds, but they missed 69 shots. And so the percentage of offensive rebounds wasn't as loud as the raw number might have looked. And I thought we battled in a way that allowed us to come up with a lot of loose plays that allowed us to get out on the break and try to get them behind us. So it was just a great overall effort.
Are you ever, say, surprised or impressed a little with the job Lou is able to do on guys of Kevin Durant's caliber?
I mean, I'm always grateful, and appreciative of just the raw effort that it takes. I mean, that's a role that you got to take a lot of punches. He gets hit like crazy on screens. They're doing everything they can to get him off of the primary guy's body. And then, it's a great player. He's going to make some really tough shots and, get the best on possessions, and it never deters Lou's effort, intensity, motor. And when you stay with it the way that he does, you can have a great impact on players like that. And, Cason's like that, Caruso, all the primary point of attack guys are like that on our team.
Outside of reading Rockets' defensive coverage, what's something that Shea just did that kind of stuck out to you positively while he was going through that tough time? Well, offensively, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he just stayed with the game. Like he went back in there in the second quarter, and he had 0 points in the first quarter. And, he played the floor game. He didn't force. He allowed his cracks to open up, and then he attacked them. It didn't temper his aggression, but it also, he played inside the game. I thought the play that was really telling, Lou made a couple early in the half, in the third quarter. And, Shea had like a broken play. We were coming up on a missed basket, and it was a good time for him to attack, for Shea to attack. It was it was an unsettled floor, and he just threw it ahead to Lou for a corner three in front of their bench, which Lou missed. But I mean, to me, that's like great recognition by him. Like Lou's made a couple, even though he's, probably not going to get 40 tonight, he still pitches the ball ahead, tries to activate his teammate. He understands the big picture on stuff like that.
You touched on J-Dub's playmaking and passing, 10 assists, 0 turnovers. Where do you feel like he is leveled up as a playmaker this season?
I think with him, it starts with his force. It's his, his appetite to get to the front of the rim and to the paint. Even in the second half on a couple of those plays, like the one Adams blocked, I think, like those are plays we want him. That's like a developmental play we want him making. He might not have finished the play, but we want him sniffing the rim like that because he's such a good playmaker and he's got such a great passing feel that when he puts pressure on the basket like that and collapses the defense, we know he's going to make really good passes for efficient shots. And the offense with him on the floor the last like 10 games has really, really been good. And I think a lot of that's because of the force he's played with, his shot profile, the shot profile of his passes. And he's getting more comfortable. He didn't have a start to the season, so that's part of it too. But I thought he was brilliant tonight, for a guy that shot 2 for 11.
Were you happy with Kaysen tonight? He always has quick hands on defense, but he knocked down a couple of threes when the game was still on the line.
Yeah, I mean, the defense on Thompson, as much as they play through Şengün and Durant, Thompson takes advantage of that, and he's just so electric as an athlete that if you don't have a good matchup on him, he can really hurt you. And Kaysen did a great job on him. He did a great job in the help. Got a couple key steals and loose balls, and that flurry to start the fourth by those guys was impressive, because that was just, it felt like it was going to be a one possession game the entire night, and they just went out, stacked a couple stops, made some shots, and next thing you know, we had a comfortable lead.
Anything stuck out to you about Kenrich Williams the last, I feel like 4 or 5 games where he's really just like perfecting his role, night in, night out. It's not always a points thing, it's not always a rebound thing, but whatever he's asked to do, he's perfecting.
Yeah, I mean, he's the epitome of a great role player. He's always ready. He's always in character. He's a fearless player, as you see with the way that he plays. And he's given us huge minutes. I mean, we've had a stretch of time here without J. Will and Hart, where he was playing some small ball 5. And even when we weren't small, having him out there with Chet or BC, beefs up the physicality and the rebounding. We were able to put him on the 5 tonight and cross-match Chet, which he allows you to do because of just how competitive he is. And yeah, he played huge minutes. He was a part of that group that started the fourth quarter.
Last one for Coach.
Kind of got it, not you per se, but just in general. got a campaign for all-stars, and like Shea's an obvious one, but there's a lot of things Chet does that most people don't see when just looking at the raw numbers. You just talk about the things that you feel like he does that makes him an all-star this year. It's deserving of an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go crazy about the campaigning, but what I will say is Chet is just the ultimate winner, and it's evidenced by the amount of winning we've done since we've had Chet. You know, his first year, we won 57 games. We were 1 seed. Last year, he obviously didn't play for some of the season, but, you know, we won in the playoffs, and then this year, you know, and there's a reason for that. It's the rim protection, it's the competitiveness, it's the floor spacing, and it's the unselfishness. I mean, he's going to do what it takes for the team to win. Tonight's a great example. It looked like a game he could have had 35 or 40 in the first few minutes, and then he just continued to make the right play throughout the night. And the way that we needed to win the game tonight with him was on the glass in the second half, and that's what he did. You know, he doesn't care about anything except for the final score, you know, and that's the proof's in the pudding on that with what he's done for our team, and we certainly appreciate him.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks.